our Jesse James Beads project of the week. We need like some sort of jazzy name. Did I just say jazzy? Yes, I did. We need some sort of like name for what we do on Thursdays. Like Thursday tutorials, that just doesn't sound good. Like we need something that, I don't know, that just kind of screams Jesse James Beads. Hold on. All right, we're good. Always makes me nervous when that happens. So I have been keeping an eye on everybody's Facebook feeds. I'm not a stalker, just been looking. And it seems as though a lot of you have been getting snow. And I too have gotten snow. I'm pausing for just a second because it looks like I'm still having some connectivity issues. Who's out there, you guys? All right, we're good. The counter is going now. I was a little concerned that maybe we weren't connected, but it looks like we are. All right, so like I was saying, I have been keeping an eye on everybody's social media posts over the past week, and there are so many of you that have gotten snow. Hi, Nancy. Oh, Nancy, you're in Ontario. Did you get any snow perchance? There's Miss Joan. I know Joan got some snow because she is here with me in East Tennessee. So that's kind of like the inspiration for this week's project, because here in East Tennessee, we very rarely get snow. We used to. When I was a kid, we would get really good snows. I can remember, and then we had a blizzard one time, and you know, but it seems like as time has gone on, the snow is very far and few between, and there are never really good snows where you can get out there and play and really enjoy it. And oddly enough, we really got snow this week. Monday night, I believe. Yeah, it was like Monday into Tuesday morning. We got snow in November, which is really, really strange for East Tennessee. But it looks like a lot of the rest of you got snow as well. So since we are skipping fall altogether, apparently, and going straight into winter, as it would seem, at least on the eastern half of the United States, we have a very snowy inspired project for you guys today. So we are still working with the holiday collection beads from Jesse James Beads, and they are absolutely beautiful. There is not a single one of the little groups. I don't really know how to, the little collections within the collection, there we go. There's not a single one that I don't like. They have all been absolutely stunning. This one, this is perfect. This is perfect for all the snow. So this is Baby It's Cold Outside, and let me tell you, it certainly is, at least here. It is very, very cold. So this strand is, it's just so pretty. It's so, so pretty. The blues and the silvers, very appropriate for anybody getting snow, and a really cool color combination for those of you who are not really big into the classic red and green for Christmas, right? Because that's not everybody's thing. I don't have a blue tree. I have a gold and bronze tree, which is absolutely beautiful. And then in the living room, I have a red and gold tree. Go Chiefs. And I would love to do a blue tree. Like this Baby It's Cold Outside has inspired me. I really want to do a blue Christmas tree. It's just so, so pretty. So we're going to make a snowflake. We're going to make a very large and in charge snowflake tree. Not a tree. What? A snowflake ornament that you can hang on your tree, or you can hang this in your window and let it be a sun catcher of sorts. I think that's what I'm going to do with mine, because I told Sarah as I was making it that it would look so beautiful, like a set of 3 of these hanging in the window. Just so, so pretty. So this project is relatively easy, but let me give you just a little bit of backstory while everybody's kind of filtering in, and then we'll really get started. This project has been, I guess you would call it a labor of love, because Sarah and I both have really worked hard on this project. Sarah had mentioned that she wanted to do a snowflake, and so I immediately start researching, trying to figure out the best way to create a snowflake, and we were bouncing ideas off of each other, and I would send her pictures and she would give me feedback, and it was just a lot. It was definitely a group effort to get this snowflake to come together, and I have to say the finished result I'm very, very proud of, and I'm so excited to show it to you guys. I really hope that you guys will enjoy it and that you won't be scared away from it. It is not difficult. We're going to do some wire wrapping that's a little bit different than what we normally do, but I think that you'll get the hang of it in no time, and it will be something that you can recreate yourself in all of these mixes if you wanted to. That would be really pretty as well. I saw Karen said hang it in front of a mirror. That would be absolutely beautiful. That's a really, really good way to show off this snowflake. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to turn you around. We're going to get a up close personal view of the strand and the mini mix, and we're going to use beads from both. So if you've not gone over to jessiejamesbeads.com yet to grab your beads, get the Baby It's Cold Outside. There's the strand, there's the mix, that two-tiered, and then there is a set of absolutely gorgeous mix of tassels. You can get this in a bundle or you can get it individually, but just go ahead and get the bundle because we're going to use all those beads for this snowflake. And there's something else. I almost forgot. Get Wired. That's your coupon code for the day. So if you would like to receive some free wire, because we are using two kinds of wire, if you'd like to grab some wire while you're shopping on your beads, add Get Wired into the coupon code at checkout and grab yourself some free wire to get home with your beads. And there is still plenty of time because it's only November, right? This snow has really thrown me off. I hung up my Christmas lights. I'm like in Christmas mode, but we haven't even had Thanksgiving yet. I don't know. Mother Nature, she has something else in store for us this year, I think. So, all right, let's get turned around and let's do this. Dale, I'm so glad you're here, Dale. I'm so glad everybody's here. Woo! My goodness. I might have to tighten you guys up a little bit here. I don't want anybody to fall. All right, so let's check out the strands. Let me turn the lights around here so we can get a really good view, because the blues in this are just absolutely gorgeous. That's just all you can say about it. And we're going to look at it and then I'm going to cut it apart because we are going to use some of the beads from this. This is so pretty in person, and luckily with my new lights, you guys are actually getting to see some of this, the real coloring here, which is fantastic. So you've got your big boho bead in the center with that nice navy blue behind it. You also have these navy blue pave beads. You've got your kind of more teal beads in here, some different, this is almost like a snowy blue here. It's not quite like sky blue. I don't even know what you would call it. It's almost on the periwinkle side. Just absolutely beautiful. This strand would look really, really pretty. Just a thought if you were to buy two of these, okay? So you want to make a snowflake out of one, and then you want to turn another one into a necklace, just to simply string this exactly like it is and add some chain reaction to the back of this. This would be a really beautiful piece to wear to any of your holiday parties that are coming up, where you know that everybody is going to be wearing the classic red and green, and you want to do something different, but you still want to keep with the Christmas, holiday, winter kind of theme. This would be perfect. This is still very much winter and holiday, but not your classic red and green. So I think it would be a really beautiful necklace all by itself. We're going to turn it into a snowflake though. So we're going to go ahead and snip the tag and get all these beads off. And then I'm going to just push these to the side because we're going to grab from that. And we are also going to use beads from this two-tiered mix, and this takes a lot of beads, but I gotta tell you, there is still a lot left over, and there's enough left over to make yourself some jewelry with. You could make some earrings. Tomorrow on Sarah Ellis Designs at 1 p.m. I'm going to use this mix to create a necklace. And hi, Rachel. That's okay. We just got started. You're not late. You're good. You're good. All right. So This is the top tier, and you can already see it has these beautiful snowflakes in it. So we're not going to use any of the snowflake charms, but I will show you how you can, if you want to include them in this project. So we've got doubles of some snowflake charms, which is fantastic because these make amazing earrings, right? So you've got your white ones, they're really big. You've got these that have the rhinestones all over them, and then this beautiful kind of antique silver color that is just really, really beautiful. You get your boho beads, which I love. I love that blue. It's like an electric blue almost. And then you've got 2 sets of the pave large hole beads, which are really, really beautiful. This one with the AB finish crystals, or that AB, you know, kind of shine to them. And then more of the navy blue, which is really, really stunning. And these ceramic beads. I cannot get enough of the ceramic beads. Hi, Elizabeth from Tucson. You know what? Sarah, James, and I are, well, Sarah is doing most of the planning. I'm just on board because, you know, it's fun. But we are planning a trip to Tucson in February. You guys stay tuned. We've got something fun coming up for those of you who are going to Tucson for the big bead shows at the end of January into the beginning of February. So if you're interested, let us know. So there's this guy that looks like just a cage of ice, and it has the little sparkly glass beads on the inside. It's just really, really beautiful. So that's the top tier, which is a ton, right? And then on the bottom, and again, just going to kind of scoot these to the side because we are going to use some of those. And then on the bottom, it's stuffed, absolutely stuffed with more beautiful, like you cannot, I'm always amazed at how full the packages are. Let me move you just a tiny, tiny bit. All right, so you have some more of these kind of cage style beads that have those beautiful like aquamarine colored crystal beads on the inside. You've got some squares that do definitely look like ice cubes. I love those. Those are super fun. You've got some bead caps, and then I think my favorite bead out of this mix are these, and I'm going to use these tomorrow in a necklace project. These just look exactly like ice crystals, icicles, don't they? Love it. These would be beautiful earrings, just a simple earring, right? With just that, I think that would be so cool. Joan, I will put you in my suitcase. Let's go to Tucson. I'm on it. I've got a pretty big suitcase. I think you would fit. I don't think you'd be very comfortable, but we can make it work. So there are these beautiful teardrop beads in this blue color that I still cannot quite give it a name. I'm sure there is an official name for that color, but it's so pretty. It's so good. It's so, so pretty. It's almost a gray blue. It's like what the sky looks like right before it snows or when it's in the middle of snowing. Really love it. Dale, I know what, let's get a circus trunk, and I'll put Dale and Joan in the circus trunk, and I will take you both to Tucson with me. Some cage beads. These are awesome, as always. That silver color goes perfectly with everything else. Then you've got some other really interesting shapes. You've got some more glass beads that look like water droplets, you know, with the snow melting. You've got your squares. Just a really beautiful mix of beads. So there's a ton here. That's just the bottom tier from that mix. So you've got both, lots and lots. And yeah, we're going to use a mix from all of this. So I'm just going to kind of group them together in big clumps, and we're just going to grab from them. I don't want to get them too far out of reach because we're going to need them. Dale, you're funny. All right, so to get started with this, you're only going to need a few things. It's very minimal. All right, we're going to need 3 pieces of 18 gauge wire, and my pieces are about 7 inches long. However, I do cut about 1.5 inches off of these, so you could shorten that up a bit if you wanted to. I think you could really get away with this if you used only 6.5 inches, maybe 6 inches. I wouldn't go any shorter than that because I feel like you would definitely run out of room. We are making a snowflake out of this. So you're going to need 3 of these, and just to kind of give you an idea, we're going to set this up like this, okay? And we're going to wire wrap it so that it will stay in place before we start adding the beads. And at that point, you can really let your creativity take over Joan, if she fits us in a trunk, we would sure have a good time that way. Yeah, you would definitely be noisy passengers if I had to guess. And you're going to need a little bit of 24 gauge wire. So only two kinds of wire, 18 gauge and 24 gauge. The 24 gauge, you can go down a step if you want to use 26 instead. 24 is perfect for this. For the sticks of the wire though, I would not go any smaller than 18 gauge wire. I definitely wouldn't risk this with 20. You could probably get away with it if you used lighter beads, but I just wouldn't risk it. So 18 or anything thicker is perfect for this project. All right, so some 24 gauge wire. How much do you need? Well, I have a ton here, and you definitely don't need that much. You're really only going to need probably about 6 inches of this, and you're probably going to have some left over. So I'm actually going to cut some of this away so that I don't have to fight with all of it. All right, as far as tools, you're only going to need your cutter tool, maybe a pair of chain nose pliers, and you can use your round nose pliers, or you can go ahead and grab your small bell making pliers. I use these because I wanted my loops to be consistent, so that's what I am using for this. All right, let me show you the wire wrapping in the beginning. Let me just show you what it looks like so you can get an idea. All right, think back, you guys, to the days of summer camp, church camp. Some of you have, in your childhood, created the same kind of wrapping, but you did it with yarn and maybe craft sticks of some variety, whether it was skewers or popsicle sticks, but you would work up this beautiful pattern using, yes, Nancy, a God's eye. You would work up this beautiful pattern using yarn. We're going to use that exact same technique, but we're doing it with wire. Okay, and I know it looks really intricate, but I promise once you practice this a couple of times, this is super, super easy, and there's not a lot to this. It's only enough wrapping to keep everything secure. Okay, so don't be scared to try this. So let's get started. What we're going to do is we're going to start with 2 of the pieces of wire. I really do feel like I need to push these beads out of the way though, just so that the camera doesn't lose its mind. So give me just a second. Let me move this all out of the way, and then we will get started with the wrapping. Just want to keep them close though. Okay, so we're going to take 2 of the pieces of wire, and you want to create a cross or an X. We're going to start out, I like to start out with it as a cross, but when I add the 3rd piece of wire, I do kind of turn it to make it an X. So it really doesn't make any difference, but we're going to start with these 2 pieces, and we need to attach these 2 pieces to each other. To do that, the first thing you want to do is you want to take your piece of 24 gauge wire and you want to anchor this to one of your pieces of wire. I am coming down towards the end just a little bit, but that's okay because it's going to be able to move back and forth. Okay, I have it laying across the top of the 18 gauge wire, and I'm just going to wrap maybe twice. Okay, you don't want to make a bunch of wraps here. You just want to be sure that it's nice and secure. Okay. So there are 2 wraps. I'm going to close the gap in between those 2 with my pliers. Okay, 2 simple wraps. And you'll see this still slides back and forth on the wire. That's fine. That's exactly what we want. I'm going to come to the back and go ahead and trim off that tail so that it is out of the way. Trim as close as you can get with that. And if you need to go back in with your pliers to kind of push down that end so that it doesn't stick out, definitely do that. 24 gauge wire is one of those that you really have to kind of double check because sometimes it's sticking up, but you don't see it. It's so hard to see. All right, so I'm going to move this more down towards the center just a bit, and I'm going to bring in my 2nd piece of wire, and I'm going to lay it across. Let's see, how do I want to do this? Yeah, I want to lay it across the top of the 1st piece. Okay. Now I want to, I am going to turn it a bit. We're going to turn it as we go. So just kind of find the middle. You don't have to be exact, but you're going to be able to adjust this for a little bit. Okay, so I slid those 2 wraps right down next to the 2nd piece of wire that I have laid across the top. Okay, we're still free here. We haven't done any wrapping yet. I'm going to take my 24 gauge wire, it's coming across the top of the 1st wire. I'm going to go across the top of that 2nd wire that is just laying there, right? And I'm going to wrap around it once, all the way around. And then again, a half a wrap so that we end up on the top. Okay. All of this is going to happen going across the top. So you want to keep that in mind. Okay. Don't take your wire to the back. It's always coming towards the front. All right. Now we're going to turn. Okay. We've got the wire, our 24 gauge wire coming this direction. Okay. And it's coming across the top of this wire. We want to go to the front of this section and wrap around once all the way around, and then twice back up to the top. Okay. So now we've wrapped around 3. Now we're going to turn it again. And you can see I can still slide this around. Okay. The wire is coming across the top, and I want it to go across the top of the wire next to it as well. Around once and around again to come up to the top. All right, now I want you guys to see this up close, okay? It's not the most beautiful wire wrapping in the world, but it gets the job done. So at this point, these 2 wires, they're good to go. They're attached to each other. They're not going to go anywhere. You can still slide them back and forth either direction so that you can kind of help to center and line up where you want the little of that to do. Oh my gosh, where you want the center of that to be. Sorry, I was reading another comment. And yeah, words are hard. All right, so now we want to add that 3rd piece of wire. This is where we definitely want to make this more of an X. And we want it to be an X this direction. Okay, instead of across, because we want to bring in that 3rd piece of wire and we want to lay it to the back, right in the center. But this piece with the 4 prongs is going to go over the top of that 3rd piece that we're bringing in. Okay, so now this wire that's coming off of this prong, instead of coming on to the next one that was already attached to it, we're gonna attach to this one. So we're just going to hook it in the exact same way. We're going around it once, all the way around. And then you'll notice I'm pushing this down with my fingers, okay? And then around again, back up to the top. And again, if you want to clean up those wraps, you can turn it to the back and smush them together with your pliers just to keep them all nice and compact, okay? Now you're just going to continue on to the next wire. Across the top, around once, and then around again. Now we're coming across the top, and we're going to go to the next wire. Okay, so just turning it in my hand and just guiding the wire as I go. Around once, and then around again. Okay, coming over the top. That's the most important part of this. This is really, really easy, but it can become a mess if on your next turn, you decide to go behind the next wire instead of over the top of it. You have to do over the top every single time, okay? So if there's one thing you remember from this, it's that. Go across the top of the next wire. Wrap around once, wrap around twice so that you're coming back up to the top, and move on to the next wire, okay? Same thing. Once, twice. And as I wrap, I push that down with my fingers. Okay, again, we're going to go to the next one. Around once, around twice, back up to the top. All right, at this point you can stop if you want to. I'm going to go around all of them one more time. You can actually continue wire wrapping this and fill up the center with this wire wrapping if you wanted to. However, the more wire wrapping you do, the less room you have for beads, and the more it's going to sort of look like a spider web. So keep that in mind, okay? If you're going for snowflake, definitely want to keep this center section just as minimal as possible. The more wraps you do, the more you're going to end up with what looks like a spider web, which would be perfect for Halloween, but we're talking snowflake. So again, I'm just going around all of them one more time, and then I'm going to trim this off, and we are going to bring in the beads. Okay. And once you have the base created, the creativity part is really up to you. All right, going around this one more time, and then we're going to stop. So I'm bringing my wire to the back. Okay, that's actually a little bit more wire than what I would actually want. I probably shouldn't have gone around that many times, but that's okay. Okay, it's still not so much that it makes it look like a spider web. It's still just minimal. And you can double check your work on the back. See all your wraps here on the back. If you want to come in and squeeze those down just to kind of clean it up just a little bit, squeeze all of those together, make them nice and uniform with your pliers. Depending on where you put this, nobody is going to see the back. If you were to hang it, say, on your tree and position it somewhere that it won't spin around, nobody is going to see the back. But if you're going to put this somewhere where it does have the possibility to turn and spin, definitely want to clean up the back just in case. Okay, so coming back to the front, we have our well, it is 3 pieces of wire, but we've got our 6 prongs, and we are ready to add our beads. And I am just going to clean it up just a tiny bit. Okay. All right. So before I add the beads to this, I do like to come in with my nylon jaw pliers and straighten out all of the wire prongs. Okay. Just to try to get them as straight as you can. They don't have to be perfect, but I definitely don't want any kinks in this of any kind. Okay. All right, so this is the look that we're going for. It already looks like a snowflake, right? Okay, so now let's add some beads to this. I like to do a strand of beads, and then on the one that is coming directly across from it, I like it to mirror it. But you can totally do this however you want to. You don't have to make it uniform and, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Symmetrical. That would be the word I'm looking for. All right, so I'm going to thread on one of these beautiful rondelles. It's just a small bead. And then I'm going to thread on this guy. Okay, you can build this up however you want to. And then I want to add this guy, but he was on the strand with 2 really beautiful bead caps. So I'm going to thread this on, and then the bead, and then the bead cap. Okay. And now I want to add one of these beautiful large hole beads, but to make it lay on the wire just the way I want it to, I'm going to add a bead cap to the top and the bottom of it. Okay, so I'm threading on a bead cap. I'm going to thread on the large hole bead, and then I'm going to thread a bead cap on the top. So what happens is those bead caps bring that hole down to a size that's going to lock that guy in place, so he's not going to wiggle around back and forth on the wire. And then the next bead we want to add is, let's see, what do we want to add next? The sky is the limit with this. Let's add one of these rondelles to the top. Okay, so you can see I've still got some extra space here. I'm going to go ahead and create a loop here. But if you wanted to continue to fill this up, you absolutely could. You just want to be sure that you leave yourself at least an inch or a ½ inch here at the end. Yeah, or use a bicone on either side. Really, the sky is the limit with this, and you can get kind of crazy with your designs with this. Like, you could use the same mix and create a completely different look every single time. All right, so I'm coming in with my chain nose pliers. I'm just going to bend that wire. We're not doing a wrapped loop here. We're just going to do a simple loop here. So I've just bent that wire 90 degrees. I am going to come in and cut off a bit of this. Okay, I'm only going to leave myself about a ½ inch. Okay, and then I'm going to use the small bail, the smaller mandrel on my bail making pliers, and I'm going to turn a loop. Now, this loop is functional. This can be your hanging point where you hang this from your tree or wherever it is that you want. Or you can hang charms from this. When we get finished, you'll see that there is some extra ways you can dress this up a little bit, okay? But now I'm going to come directly across here, and I'm going to do the exact same pattern here over here on this end, okay? So I'm just going to grab the same beads and thread them on just to try to keep it symmetrical. You don't have to be symmetrical. And a bead cap. And this really awesome disco ball bead in blue. Look at that. It looks like it's covered in ice crystals. So pretty. Just really, really stunning. This mix is just, oh, I love it. I absolutely love it. And I know I say that a bunch, but I can't help it. I love Jesse James beads. What can I say? All right, let's find that large hole bead and let's cap that one off and add another rondelle just so that it matches on both sides. Okay. Same thing, I'm going to come in with my chain nose pliers. I'm going to bend that wire and then I'm going to trim off. And if you'll notice, I use my finger as my guide. I never really measure exactly, but the width of my finger is a pretty good measurement for how much to cut. Now, depending on whether or not you have smaller or bigger fingers, that might not always work for you, but it's just a handy little trick that I use. All right, turning another loop there. Okay, so we've got a loop on both ends, and the wire is going to bend on you a bit. That's okay. Once we get it all filled up with beads, there will not be any more room for anything to move, okay? All right, so let's fill up this guy. I'm going to thread on one of these really pretty rectangle beads, and let's see. Let's do another bead cap here. Look at this bead cap. I don't know, I didn't point this out before when we were looking at the strand, but this was one of the bead caps on the strand. It even has rhinestones on it. Like, that's how fancy this strand is. It's just so beautiful. All right, we're gonna put on that guy. Let's put another bead cap on the top of that. Okay, just to kind of bring that large hole down a bit. And let's see. Next, let's add one of these boho beads that are just awesome. Okay, let's do another one of the rectangles, and just for good measure, let's put another rondelle on the top here. Let's see if I find one that I like. Let's use this one. All right, so I like the look of that. I'm gonna bend that 90 degrees. Go ahead and trim off what I don't need. Happy Thursday, Kelly. Kelly, I saw that Gilly is not feeling well. I'm so sorry. Tell her that we all hope that she gets feeling better soon. All right, so I'm going to repeat this pattern up here. So I'm going to thread on the rectangle bead, one of the bead caps, this really pretty blue bead. I say this really pretty blue. They're like all really pretty blue beads. Be a little bit more specific here. All right, there's that. And let's see. Let's bring on the boho. Another one of the rectangle beads, and then we'll finish that off with one of the blue rondelles. Okay. So we're almost finished, believe it or not. We've only got two little prongs left. We're just going to trim that off and bring this small mandrel in to create that loop. Okay, and now we've got one more to go. And let's see. on the bottom of this one, I want to use a bigger bead just to kind of fill in down here. So I'm going to thread on one of these large bead caps and one of these large rondelles. These are so pretty. That color is just stunning. Look at that. Let's cap that one off. I like to use the bead caps with all of these. It just brings in that metal, just really kind of brings that kind of iciness to it. All right, we're going to thread on one of the darker large hole beads. And I didn't use a bead cap here, but that's okay because I'm going to use one of these round beads. It's kind of, you can see the facet on that, and it's going to sit right in the top of that round hole bead. It's like the perfect little nest, or that large hole bead, not round hole bead. My goodness, they're all round holes. All right, and then let's see. Let's add, what else do we want to add to this? Let's do another one of the rondelles, but this time let's give it, this guy is just so pretty. Let's give it some bead caps too, just to hold it in place. I'm going to use one of these kind of cup shaped. Put that on. Yeah, that'll work. I like that. Bring that on. So this one actually looks a bit different than the original one that's in the photo, but that's what's so cool about this is you can change these up. You know, you get a different look every single time. I like that. So we're going to go ahead and come in, bend that 90 degrees, and trim off what we don't need. And using the small bell making pliers, just roll back to create our little loop here. All right, last but not least, we're gonna mirror this down here. We're gonna thread on the bead cap and then the rondelle, this big beautiful rondelle, and another bead cap just to top that off. And a large hole bead, one of the round faceted beads. All right, one of those bead caps is kind of fluted around, or a large hole bead rather, and then another fluted bead cap, and then we'll finish that off with our round bead. All right, now we're going to finish this off. This is the last loop. Just going to turn that wire, give it a nice bend, come in, trim off what we don't need, bring the bell making pliers back in. Oh, a little extra strength there. I didn't mean to do that so hard. All right, so there's our last loop. Now, look at what we have. We have this really beautiful, beautiful snowflake, right? And everybody at home is going to create a different one. Unless you know, string your beads the exact same way that I did, everybody's snowflake is going to look different. Everybody's snowflake is going to be unique, which is the way snowflakes are, oddly enough. All right, so let's talk about the loops. Again, you have the opportunity, there's a loop at the end of all of the arms of your snowflake, or legs, or prongs, or whatever you want to call it. Anita, I used 18 gauge wire for the body, and I used 24 gauge for that center wire wrapping just to get it together, okay, to hold it together. But on the loops here, you can decide whichever direction you want to be, up and down, and you can use that loop as your hanger. You can go ahead and thread on some thread there, or a Christmas tree hook, or whatever you want to use to hang this, some ribbon. That would be really, really pretty. But you could also, if you wanted to get just really crazy extra with this, you could come in and add jump rings and add maybe, I don't know, snowflakes to the 3 on one end, right? Just to make it even more something. even more some, not that it's not, it doesn't need more, but I mean, come on, we're Jesse James Beads fans. We're big and bold and we like to make a statement. So you definitely could take this even further and hang more snowflakes from it. You could come in with these icicle beads. Look at these. You could hang the icicle beads from those on the bottom and it would look like it had icicles hanging from it. Just really, the sky is kind of the limit here, because once you get that component together, and you saw how quickly we worked that up, that component came up very, very quickly, then you can take this and really get crazy and creative with it. You could put anything you wanted to on here, any of the Baby It's Cold Outside beads in any combination are going to be perfect for this. So yeah, hooray. All right, I'm going to flip you around. Hi. And I'm going to hold it up so that you can see just kind of a size comparison to my hand here. So this is a large and in charge snowflake, but let's talk about how pretty. I mean, really, any combination of the Baby It's Cold Outside beads, the strand, the mix, you could even hang some tassels from this if you wanted to. If you're in the mood for tassels, you could hang chain from the, you could get crazy creative with this. So I hope that I have inspired you. I am definitely going to hang this in the window. I just feel like it needs to. I have an arched window over here on the other wall, and I feel like it would just look really, really beautiful hanging in that arch and let the sun come through and catch the light and all the facets on all of those beads. It's really going to sparkle. But like Karen said, it would look beautiful in front of a mirror. You could hang these with your stockings, you know, each one a different one for each stocking. I don't know. I love Christmas and I love Christmas decorations, so I get kind of crazy about it. And oh my gosh, how about wear it as a Flava Flav necklace? Sarah, you are a funny girl. Yes. All right, let's just imagine for a second. That's my necklace. I would rock it. I would put like a big tassel, a big chunky tassel on the bottom of it. I don't think it would really work as an earring just because it would be very uncomfortable, but yeah, you can make jewelry out of this if you wanted to. But that actually kind of brings up a good point, because you could actually do this on a smaller scale. The exact same structure, okay, the exact same wire component that we put together, you could do on a smaller scale, right? You don't have to make it huge, and you could turn it into jewelry. If you used 20 gauge wire and your 24 gauge wire, or 20 gauge wire and 26 gauge wire for your wire wrapping, and you scaled this down quite a bit, you could make a really beautiful pendant with this. You could make a pair of earrings with this. So the component is really the teaching part of this. I hope that you will take that component and use it in a million different ways, and don't forget about it when it comes for time for Halloween, because that same kind of God's eye wrapping that we did, you can build that up to create a wire web, and then you could put your beautiful, everybody was making those beautiful beaded Christmas spiders. They started around Halloween. Those would look really beautiful on that. So just one of those things that you can take and use a million different ways. I hope that you do. If you do, you guys, post your pictures. Put your pictures over on the Secret Stash. If you are not a member of the Secret Stash group on Facebook, please go join it. The community there is absolutely amazing. I feel like I'm getting to know everybody. I'm forming bonds and friendships with people that are across the country or in a different country. It's just a really great community of people, jewelry makers, crafters, and we really, we have a good time with each other. There's no drama, there's no negativity. It's all positive, uplifting. We all love each other and are very fierce about protecting each other, which I think is, you know, it's really important. The internet can be an ugly place sometimes. So it's very much appreciated how much everybody supports and cares for each other there. So come join the Secret Stash group if you're not a member already, and post your pictures of your snowflakes. If you guys make snowflakes, you can post them anywhere. Send me a link, send me a picture. If you have any questions or you need any help, also, please feel free to reach out to me, reach out to Sarah. We are more than happy to help you guys. So, all right, that's it. You guys have a wonderful rest of your Thursday. go do something. Go do something that makes you feel good today. Yesterday was was it national, or I think it was World Kindness Day. We missed it. I wish it had been today so that we could celebrate it here together, but it can always be World Kindness Day. Go forth and do something wonderful for yourself or for somebody else. And join me tomorrow on Sarah Ellis Designs at 1 p.m. We're going to use this same Baby It's Cold Outside mix to make a beautiful icicle necklace. All right, so you all have a great afternoon, and I will see you guys tomorrow, or same time, same place here next week. Bye, guys.